Jay North, the beloved child actor who etched himself into American pop culture history with his portrayal of the mischievous yet well-meaning Dennis Mitchell on the 1960s classic sitcom Dennis the Menace, has passed away at the age of 73. His death was confirmed by his longtime friend and Hollywood historian Laurie Jacobson, who announced that North died peacefully at his home on April 6, 2025. Following a prolonged and courageous battle with cancer. The announcement brought a wave of sorrow and reflection across generations of fans and former colleagues, many of whom grew up with the boyish face and blonde cowlick of America's favorite menace. In a heartfelt Facebook post, Jacobson mourned the passing of a man she described as gentle, generous, and deeply compassionate. Jay passed peacefully at home, she wrote. He had a heart as big as a mountain. Her words spoke not only to North's enduring warmth and humanity, but also to the private battles he fought after experiencing the darker sides of child stardom. North's publicist later confirmed the sad news, marking the end of an era that began more than 6 decades ago, when a bright-eyed 6-year-old boy captured the hearts of a nation. A meteoric rise. From humble beginnings to national fame. Jay North was born on August 3, 1951. In Hollywood, California. Raised by a single mother, Dorothy North, who worked as a secretary at the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, AFTRA, Jay's entry into the world of entertainment seemed almost destined. His mother, aware of the possibilities Hollywood held, encouraged her son's early interest in acting. She began submitting his name for television auditions, and soon enough, young Jay was appearing on local Los Angeles children's shows. His big break came in 1959, when at just 7 years old, North was cast in the title role of CBS's new family sitcom, Dennis the Menace. Adapted from Hank Ketcham's popular comic strip, the show revolved around a well-meaning but trouble-prone boy and his interactions with his neighbor Mr. Wilson, played by Joseph Kearns. North's charisma, comic timing, and mischievous charm were perfect for the role, and he quickly became a nationwide sensation. Running from 1959 to 1963, Dennis the Menace was a major hit, consistently ranking in the top 20 in television ratings. Jay's portrayal of Dennis was not only iconic but era-defining. He became a household name and a staple in the living rooms of millions of American families. Children saw him as a peer, while parents found his antics harmless and endearing. At the peak of the show's popularity, North was receiving more fan mail than any other child actor on television. Hollywood's dark underbelly, the hidden struggles behind the smile. While Jay North's public image reflected the light-hearted mischief of Dennis Mitchell, behind the scenes he was enduring a very different reality. As a young actor with an intense filming schedule, North was thrust into an adult world at a tender age, and the pressure of carrying a network sitcom began to take its toll. One of the most painful aspects of Jay's childhood stardom was the abusive behavior he suffered at the hands of his legal guardians, Marie and Hal Hopper. Appointed to oversee his well-being during filming, the Hoppers used harsh methods to control and discipline Jay when they felt he had underperformed. In a revealing 1991 interview, North shared that, "I would go in and do a scene, and then I would get a slap across the face." The physical and emotional abuse he experienced left deep scars that would follow him for the rest of his life. After Dennis, the Menace ended in 1963. Jay, now 12 years old, found himself typecast. Despite his popularity, roles were hard to come by. Hollywood, having once celebrated his cherubic image, no longer knew what to do with him as he began to age out of child roles. The transition from child star to adult actor proved as difficult for North as it had been for many before him, and the offers dwindled. Searching for meaning. Reinvention beyond the spotlight. While the fame of Dennis the Menace continued to echo in reruns for decades, Jay North chose to step away from the limelight to pursue a different path. Determined to find a sense of purpose beyond acting, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy in the early 1970s, a decision that marked a dramatic shift from his life in Hollywood. However, even in the military, he struggled to escape the shadow of his past. Fellow servicemen often recognized him and teased him about his childhood fame. Despite this, North found solace in the discipline and structure the military provided. Following his service, North held various jobs, including working in the health food industry and later as a correctional officer in Florida, a role that stood in stark contrast to his early life as a child actor. He reportedly found satisfaction in this work, appreciating its grounded nature and the opportunity to help others. But North never fully turned his back on the entertainment industry. In the 1990s, he began speaking out about the exploitation of child actors and became actively involved with A Minor Consideration, an advocacy group founded by fellow former child actor Paul Peterson. The organization was dedicated to helping young performers navigate the often treacherous world of show business, advocating for better working conditions, emotional support, and legal protections. North mentored numerous young actors and publicly encouraged reforms in the industry that could better protect children from the kind of trauma he had endured. A Brotherhood of Survivors. The tribute from Paul Peterson. One of the most touching tributes following J. North's passing came from Paul Peterson, a fellow former child star who had long campaigned for the rights and mental well-being of actors like himself and North. Dennis the Menace has shed his mortal coil. Peterson wrote, "You left a mark as our first formal rescue." His words alluded to North's status as the first major success story in A Minor Consideration's mission. A former child star who, despite suffering abuse, typecasting, and abandonment by the industry, managed to reclaim his life and use his experience to guide others. Through their work together, North and Peterson forged a bond based not only on shared experiences, but on a mission to make things better for the next generation. Jay's involvement in the group wasn't performative, it was personal. He knew the stakes and never hesitated to share his story if it meant helping someone else avoid the same mistakes or traumas. A voice that continued to work. Animation and beyond. Though Jay North's on-screen acting roles became fewer as he aged, he maintained a career in voice acting through the late 1960s and early 1970s. He lent his voice to various animated series, including The Pebbles and Bam Bam Show, The Flintstones Comedy Hour, and Arabian Nights. These roles helped him remain active in the industry in a lower-pressure environment, and he was able to flex his talents in a different, more manageable medium. His contributions to animation may not have reached the cultural heights of Dennis the Menace, but they provided a steady, quiet way for North to stay creatively engaged during a period when many of his peers fell into disillusionment or obscurity. Remembering the legacy. More than a TV star. As news of his passing spread,